right, Shane. How about this one? We got a rowdy one down in Starkville, Georgia. Mighty Georgia. Shane on the road at Mississippi State Bulldogs from Athens, favored by 9.5 points. The over-under 57.5 total points. Noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on ESPN. Who do you like in this one?
I can imagine Mississippi State winning this game. I can imagine them cowbells going crazy, the fans storming the football field. I can see it. I can absolutely see it happening because Mississippi State's been playing wonderful, especially at home, right? They I just don't know, man. I feel like I've got a little bit of fool's gold with Mississippi State. It's like I want to believe they're here, man. They are back. This is a good football team that's just had a couple of bad breaks, but what if they had a couple of good breaks and they still fell short kind of scenario? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like them dogs, Georgia Bulldogs that is a football team that kind of came alive last week. Now, I'm not saying – I can't sit here and say, well, Kentucky's going to beat Florida. It's not the same, right? Yeah. I feel like you got the best Florida last week, and Georgia seems like they always get that. And they have been. They're the ones that always had the bullseye on them, but we really don't talk about them near as much because this could potentially be your playoff team right here. This could be the one hoisting that trophy at the end of the year. I don't think it's a game. Mike, I tried to imagine it, and I know the State fans are in here like, yeah, this is the one. It is not the one. I almost locked this one because I think this one's out of hand pretty early. But Mississippi State crawls back in. Give me 31, Georgia. Mississippi State 21. Sorry, Sven. I know you're up late.
Oh, 31-21.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's pretty good, right? Against a top five-ish team.
Hang the banner, baby.
I think Georgia is number 5 in the country.
Yeah.
State fighting for bowl eligibility. They're one away. Some tough games. It's Georgia game at Mizzou. Oh, yeah. Buddy. Egg Bowl. Yeah, this could be a scenario, Shane, where it's like if you don't get it now, you may not get it. You know, I hate to say it for them, but you're right. I mean, they've been playing a lot better. Loving what I'm seeing from the freshman, Kamario Taylor. He's coming in there and giving a new spark to Mississippi State's offense.
Yeah.
Blake Shapen making clutch plays. Brendan Thompson, where the hell's that guy been this whole career? He was at Oklahoma. I don't know what he did, but he's a revelation here. Anthony Evans from Mississippi State.
Yeah.
I like Traore, the tight end. We got Fluff back last week. Davin Booth. I mean, there's so many weapons, Shane, on Mississippi State's team here. The biggest hang-up I have, though, and I hope I'm dead wrong, you know?
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong. But every time I watch Jeff Levy, I'm like, what in the hell are we doing? I think he's a hell of an offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, but I seriously question his ability to lead an SEC program to wins here. Meanwhile, we got the damn greatest coach in college football on the other sideline who's just clapping over here, getting the refs to bend to his will here. So, you know, I mean, that's a massive, massive, massive advantage for Georgia in this matchup. And as far as Mississippi State has come on the defensive side of the football, and they really have, shout out Coleman Hutzler, defensive coordinator. I called him every word under the book this offseason, Shane. I said, you can't bring this guy back. His defense was beyond bad last year. Yeah. The worst in the conference. And now I'd say they're getting after the quarterbacks. I'd say they're still kind of middle tier, but that's a big step up from arguably the worst in the country. So they're doing a good job. But the problem, Shane, is Georgia. It's got an elite offense. Gunnar Stockton playing the best football that he's ever played. He's getting more and more confidence. Receivers are emerging. The offensive line's looking good. And I don't think Georgia's afraid of those cowbells. Do you?
Mm-mm. Damn.
Well, that's where you're wrong. Come on, Shane. Upset. I told you, upsets are in the air. Give me Mississippi State 38, Georgia 35. Bulldogs from Starkville pull off the upset that should have happened about 3 times this year. Finally happened, Shane. Mississippi State. I know they finished last week, but who cares about that game? They finally finished against a quality opponent, and Georgia gets behind, and this is the first time they can't rally back.
And honestly, Mike, in my mind, this feels like that Mississippi State Texas A&M game, right? I thought, hey man, the Bulldogs are back. They're going to go down there. They're going to pull off the upset. I can feel it. And then I'm watching Texas A&M just run through them, and I'm like, what was I thinking? Mississippi State's not there yet. But I'm probably wrong, Mike. If anybody's happy right now, it's probably them State fans, because remember where I am in the rankings.
Yep. All right. How about this one, Steven? I'm very fascinated to see where you go with Georgia, mighty Georgia, at Mississippi State, Steven. Georgia favored by 7.5 points. What? That was a weird line when it came out, huh? I think it's actually come down. Some places still have it at 8.5. 56.5 is the total. Noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, nationally televised on ESPN. Georgia keeps finding ways. Mississippi State finally found a way, but they've been in dang near all these games. Who do you like in this one?
Mike, I think there is some danger zone here for Georgia. And you might call me crazy. Some other people might call me crazy. But I look at this spread, and you can see it's under like 10 points or so. And it kind of makes you raise your eyebrow a little bit. But I like the timing of this game for Mississippi State. It's getting Georgia a week after playing Florida. Georgia gets Texas next week. It's kind of a trap game on the road in Starkville. Also, it's an early start time. So you just, instead of, you got to get going right away on Saturday in a very difficult environment if you're Georgia. So I do think, given Mississippi State's track record of playing close, especially at home, the timing of this game for Georgia, motivated Mississippi State, there is definitely some danger here for Georgia. So I totally understand why the spread is kind of under 10 points or so. I think the question is, when you start looking at the matchups, if you assume that Georgia shows up and is motivated and isn't kind of thinking about, Arch Manning in Texas and is not thinking about the Florida win, the Mississippi State defense is better this year, but it does struggle to stop the run. They're giving up over 6 yards of play, kind of at the bottom of the SEC against the run. So you could see how maybe Georgia doesn't show up 100% motivated, but the strengths in the trenches, they kind of lean on Mississippi State in the second half. It's close. I also think that getting off to a fast start for both sides is really important. Like, if you're Georgia, score early, take Mississippi State out, make them think they have no chance. If you're Mississippi State, you do exactly what you did against like Arizona State and some of these other games. Score early, keep the crowd in it, add pressure to Georgia, and you get into a game where fourth quarter, you got a chance to steal one in Starkville. I think on the other side, I am fascinated to see how Mississippi State's offense matches up against Georgia's defense. Looks like Jordan Hall could be out for a while for Georgia. It's a pretty big loss up front. Mississippi State, they like to run the ball, of course. Good to see Fluff Bothwell back last week. Mississippi State's passing game can be kind of boom or bust at times. It's like a big play or nothing. And Georgia has given up some big plays at times. So just thinking about that is, if you're Blake Shapen, maybe you throw Kamario Taylor in there too. Can you hit a big play or two and try to find a way to keep this game close in the second half? So, Mike, I think this is a very, very dangerous game for Georgia, unless I'm completely crazy, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here.
No, Brodo will let you know. He says, Steven, I'll say it. He says, you're crazy, man.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, but, Georgia seemingly gets down in all these games. That's never ideal, obviously, but, they keep finding ways. So even if they get down in this game, you got to have confidence that they could come back, and they will come back, and they can win it. But danger zone, the Cowbells. This might be an imperative one where I think if Georgia starts fast, they could bury Mississippi State early. I really do. If Mississippi State starts fast, gets that crowd into it, that could be real danger zone. And it's almost in one sense, Steven, I like want to call the outright upset. In another sense, I'm like, well, heck, even if Georgia gets down, we have seen them time and time come back, and we have seen Mississippi State time and time again squander leads and lose games. So it's almost a disaster recipe, for Mississippi State in that regard. And Jeff Lebby and company, I think they're still finding a way, but they have belief now. And let me ask you this: does it help or hurt that Mississippi State seemingly has two quarterbacks that can, because they're so different, Blake Shapen and Kamario Taylor? I would imagine it makes it difficult to prepare for, but at the same time, it makes it difficult for Mississippi State to kind of figure out which one to play in the certain spots.
Yeah, I will say I'm very intrigued by the upside of Kamario Taylor. And, you and I kind of talked about this earlier this year when he played a little bit, that the upside is very high into the future. Still seems like Blake Shapen is going to be the starter, and then maybe you sprinkle in Taylor. But that does give you an advantage if you're Mississippi State. Like, you could play the two quarterbacks. Taylor gives you something different as far as his mobility. Mike, I think it's worth considering. I know last year teams are different, but Mississippi State scored 31 points last year in Athens. It was a 10-point game. Of course, that was the game, was it the Kirby bumped Michael Van Buren or whatever it was?
Yeah.
So, I right.
Timeout on that one, Kirby. Excuse me, clapping. Should have been tossed for that.
There's a lot of, I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe I'm crazy here. I don't read too much into necessarily the series history for what happened last year, but it just feels like Georgia plays close games. Mississippi State's played a lot of close games this year. The road, the timing, Mississippi State can score. Like you said, too, the crowd getting off to a fast start. If Georgia gets up 14-0, it feels like this one gets away. But if it's close at halftime, kind of feels like Mississippi State makes this a 4-quarter game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This may be the toughest game for me to call this week. I could see either one winning it, but who do you got winning, Steven?
Mike, I am going to take Georgia. I think this team is on a march to
what a coward.
a deep run in the college football playoff, but I do think it's going to be close. And I'm going to take Georgia 31, Mississippi State 24. I think the home environment, the track record, Georgia kind of thinking about Florida, thinking about Texas, timing favors Mississippi State here. I just think Georgia finds a way again. Maybe it's a little bit more one-sided. Mississippi State gets the cover late, but either way, I like the Georgia Bulldogs, to win on Saturday.
How many points does Mississippi State need to hold Georgia to win this game, you think?
I'd go maybe under 30. You think that's fair? I mean, I guess they could win a higher scoring game too.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could. I'm a little bit concerned for old Georgia having to keep coming back from all these deficits. At some point, that's going to catch up with you. Now, will it be Mississippi State? I mean, it's more realistic Texas or Georgia Tech perhaps, but it's going to catch up to them at some point.
Also, I would think if you're Georgia, and I would totally agree. I think if you live on the edge too many times in college football, you're going to get burned. And it could happen to Georgia. And I think if you're Kirby, you're probably hoping that it doesn't happen in the college football playoff and you can kind of take it to the next level. But also, I do think if you're Mississippi State, can you find a way to get Gunnar Stockton in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 consistently? I think he's very capable of executing. But that's the game I want to play. I don't want them running for 200 yards. I'm going to say, you just beat us on 3rd and long. So they got to figure out a way to stuff the run, get them into some long yardage situations in the passing game. It feels like, or maybe we should look at it this way. It feels like it's danger zone for Mississippi State, but for Georgia in here. But maybe it's also the game where they just come out and put their foot down early, get ahead. We go into that game against Texas next week and think, oh, Georgia might be finding that next gear too.
Right. I mean, it's fair to say Georgia hasn't played a full, complete game yet, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. That's fair because the game against Ole Miss, you could argue that the defense didn't show up until late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And of course there was the Auburn game. So I would like to see them put together a complete performance on both sides of the ball here.
And if they do that, I think they can. They can. Well, obviously they can, but I think they'll beat everybody they play if they're even in the playoff potentially. If they play a complete game, you know what?
Yeah, I do too. I think this Georgia team can win it all this year. I think there is the real concern if you're an opponent on Georgia's schedule coming up or in the playoff that this team flips the switch as we go into November, December. They find that next level and they could potentially win another national championship.